According to the 2023 National Electrical Code, the maximum number of 12 American wire gauge THHN conductors that can be installed in 1/2-inch electrical metallic tubing, or EMT, is 10 conductors. Considerations for loading are important. Yes, consideration of the loading is needed to adjust the number of conductors accordingly to meet the allowable ampacity of the conduit. The allowable ampacity of a conduit is determined by the number and size of the conductors, as well as the insulation temperature rating. For 12 American wire gauge THHN conductors with a 90 degrees Celsius insulation rating, the ampacity for each conductor is 20 amps in free air, but it is 16 amps in a conduit. For example, if a circuit with multiple 12 American wire gauge THHN conductors and the total load is 50 amps, a minimum of 4 conductors are needed. This is determined by dividing 50 amps by 16 amps per conductor, which equals 3.125 conductors. Rounding up to the next whole number, it is determined that 4 conductors are needed. It's important to check local codes and regulations, as they may impose more stringent requirements than the NEC. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides tables that specify the maximum number of conductors permitted in various conduit sizes. These tables take into account the conductor size, insulation type, and conduit type. The specific table to consult for EMT conduit fill is typically found in Chapter 9 of the NEC. Understanding conductor fill is critical for safe and compliant electrical installations. Overfilling conduits can lead to overheating, insulation damage, and potentially electrical fires. The NEC provides guidelines to prevent these issues. Firstly, ensure the correct conduit size is selected for the intended number of conductors. Secondly, use the appropriate fill table in the NEC to verify compliance. Thirdly, consider derating factors for ampacity if multiple current-carrying conductors are installed in the same conduit. Derating, also known as ampacity adjustment, is necessary when multiple current-carrying conductors are bundled together in a conduit or raceway. This is because the heat generated by the conductors can raise the overall temperature within the conduit, potentially exceeding the insulation rating of the conductors. The NEC provides tables and formulas to calculate the appropriate derating factors based on the number of current-carrying conductors and the ambient temperature. The goal of derating is to reduce the allowable ampacity of each conductor to ensure that the insulation temperature rating is not exceeded. To calculate the derated ampacity, multiply the conductor's base ampacity by the applicable derating factor. For example, if a 12 American wire gauge THHN conductor has a base ampacity of 20 amps at 90 degrees Celsius, and a derating factor of 0.8 is required due to the number of conductors in the conduit, the derated ampacity would be 20 amps multiplied by 0.8, which equals 16 amps. It's essential to apply derating factors accurately to prevent overheating and ensure the safe operation of electrical systems. The NEC specifies different derating factors based on the number of current-carrying conductors in a raceway or cable. These factors are typically found in NEC Table 310.15 Cone. As the number of conductors increases, the derating factor decreases, reducing the allowable ampacity of each conductor. In addition to the number of conductors, the ambient temperature also affects the ampacity of conductors. Higher ambient temperatures can reduce the allowable ampacity, while lower temperatures may increase it. The NEC provides correction factors for ampacity based on ambient temperature in NEC Table 310.15 burn. To determine the temperature-corrected ampacity, multiply the conductor's base ampacity by the applicable temperature correction factor. For example, if a 12 American wire gauge THHN conductor has a base ampacity of 20 amps at 90 degrees Celsius, and the ambient temperature is 40 degrees Celsius, which requires a correction factor of 0.88, the temperature-corrected ampacity would be 20 amps multiplied by 0.88, which equals 17.6 amps. Considering both derating and temperature correction is essential for accurate ampacity calculations. When multiple factors affect the ampacity, such as the number of conductors and the ambient temperature, apply both derating and temperature correction factors. Multiply the conductor's base ampacity by both factors to determine the final allowable ampacity. For example, if a 12 American wire gauge THHN conductor has a base ampacity of 20 amps at 90 degrees Celsius and a Derating factor of 0.8 and a temperature correction factor of 0.88 apply, the final allowable ampacity would be 20 amps multiplied by 0.8 multiplied by 0.88, which equals 14.8 amps. Always use the most conservative approach when calculating ampacity to ensure safety and compliance. When installing conductors and conduit, it's essential to follow proper installation practices to prevent damage to the conductors and ensure long-term reliability. Firstly, use pulling lubricants to reduce friction and prevent insulation damage during installation. Secondly, avoid sharp bends and excessive pulling force, as these can damage the conductors. Thirdly, ensure that the conduit is properly supported and secured to prevent movement and strain on the conductors. Additionally, it is crucial to verify the conductor's insulation type and temperature rating to ensure compatibility with the intended application. THHN, THWN, and XHHW are common insulation types used in electrical wiring, each with different temperature and environmental ratings. The conductor's temperature rating indicates the maximum temperature the conductor can withstand without degradation of its insulation properties. Exceeding this temperature can lead to insulation failure, short circuits, and electrical fires. Always refer to the NEC and manufacturer's specifications for proper conductor selection and installation. The NEC specifies the allowable ampacity of conductors based on their insulation type and temperature rating in NEC Table 310.16. This table provides the ampacity values for conductors in various wiring configurations, including those installed in conduit, free air, and underground. When selecting conductors, ensure that the ampacity is sufficient for the intended load and that the insulation type is suitable for the environmental conditions. Also, consider the voltage drop in the circuit, especially for long runs. Voltage drop occurs when the voltage at the load is lower than the voltage at the source due to the resistance of the conductors. Excessive voltage drop can cause equipment malfunction, reduced efficiency, and increased energy consumption. The NEC recommends limiting voltage drop to a maximum of 3% for branch circuits and 5% for feeders. To minimize voltage drop, use larger conductor sizes, reduce the circuit length, or increase the supply voltage. Voltage drop can be calculated using Ohm's law and the conductor's resistance per unit length. The NEC provides formulas and tables to assist in voltage drop calculations. When calculating voltage drop, consider the total circuit length, the load current, and the conductor's resistance. If the calculated voltage drop exceeds the recommended limits, increase the conductor size or reduce the circuit length to minimize the voltage drop. Proper voltage drop calculations are essential for efficient and reliable electrical system performance. Grounding and bonding are critical for electrical safety. Grounding provides a low impedance path for fault current to return to the source, allowing overcurrent protection devices to trip and clear the fault. Bonding ensures that all metallic parts of the electrical system are electrically connected, reducing the risk of electric shock. The NEC specifies the requirements for grounding and bonding in Article 250. Grounding and bonding systems must be properly installed and maintained to ensure electrical safety. The grounding electrode system typically consists of a ground rod, ground plate, or underground metallic water pipe. The grounding electrode conductor connects the grounding electrode to the electrical system's neutral point. Bonding conductors connect metallic parts of the electrical system to the grounding system, creating a low impedance path for fault current. Proper grounding and bonding are essential for protecting people and equipment from electrical hazards. Overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses, are designed to protect electrical circuits from overloads and short circuits. These devices interrupt the flow of current when it exceeds a predetermined level, preventing damage to the electrical system and reducing the risk of electrical fires. The NEC specifies the requirements for overcurrent protection in Article 240. Overcurrent protection devices must be properly sized and installed to provide adequate protection. The ampacity of the overcurrent protection device should not exceed the ampacity of the conductors it protects. Circuit breakers and fuses are available in various types and sizes, each with different characteristics and applications. When selecting overcurrent protection devices, consider the circuit's voltage, current, and interrupting rating. The interrupting rating is the maximum fault current that the device can safely interrupt. Ensure that the interrupting rating is sufficient for the potential fault current at the installation location. Regular inspection and testing of overcurrent protection devices are essential to ensure their proper operation. Electrical enclosures, such as junction boxes and panel boards, are used to protect electrical components and provide a safe working environment. Enclosures must be properly sized and installed to provide adequate protection from physical damage, moisture, and dust. The NEC specifies the requirements for electrical enclosures in Article 314. Enclosures are available in various types and materials, each with different environmental ratings. The environmental rating, such as NEMA 1, NEMA 3R, or NEMA 4X, indicates the enclosure's ability to withstand specific environmental conditions. Select enclosures with appropriate environmental ratings for the intended application. Proper installation and maintenance of electrical enclosures are essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical systems. The electrical safety is paramount in all electrical work. Always follow safe work practices and use appropriate personal protective equipment, or PPE, when working on or near electrical equipment. De-energize circuits before working on them whenever possible. If it is not possible to de-energize the circuit, use insulated tools and equipment to prevent electric shock. Lockout/tagout procedures should be followed to ensure that circuits remain de-energized during maintenance and repair work. Regular training in electrical safety is essential for all electrical workers. The NEC provides detailed requirements for safe electrical installations and practices. Adherence to these requirements is essential for protecting people and property from electrical hazards. Proper planning and preparation are essential for successful electrical projects. Before starting any electrical work, develop a detailed plan that outlines the scope of the project, the materials required, and the safety procedures to be followed. Obtain all necessary permits and approvals before starting work. Inspect the work area for potential hazards and take steps to mitigate them. Ensure that all workers are properly trained and equipped for the tasks they will be performing. Effective communication and coordination among workers are essential for ensuring a safe and efficient work environment. Regular inspections and testing of electrical installations are essential for identifying and correcting potential problems before they lead to failures or hazards. The NEC recommends regular inspections and testing of electrical systems. Inspections should be performed by qualified electrical inspectors. Testing should be performed using appropriate test equipment, such as multimeters, insulation resistance testers, and ground impedance testers. Any deficiencies identified during inspections and testing should be promptly corrected. Proper maintenance of electrical systems is essential for ensuring their long-term reliability and safety. Maintaining records of inspections, testing, and maintenance activities is essential for tracking the condition of electrical systems and identifying potential problems. The NEC provides guidance on electrical safety and maintenance practices. Adherence to these practices is essential for protecting people and property from electrical hazards. In summary, determining the maximum number of 12 American wire gauge THHN conductors in 1/2-inch EMT conduit requires careful consideration of the NEC guidelines, ampacity derating, temperature correction, and local codes. Proper planning, installation, and maintenance are essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical systems. Always consult with qualified electrical professionals for assistance with electrical projects.